This is OKC Sports. My name is Clayton. I'm here with Leo and LJ. On
On
this
this
episode,
episode,
we're
we're
going
going
to
to
talk
talk
about
about
the
the
Oklahoma
Oklahoma
City
State
Thunder
Thunder
winning the
winning the
finals.
finals.
So
So
we're
we're
just
just
going
going
to
to
give a
give a
good
good
whatever we
whatever we
want to
want to
talk
talk
about when
about
it
when it
comes to
comes
the
to the
finals
finals
and the
and the
Thunder.
Thunder.
So
So
if
if
you
you
could
could
start,
start,
Leo,
Leo,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Man, fellas, let's go Thunder! Let's go Thunder! Hey, man. OKC won the title, bro. What can you say, man? SGA, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, Casey Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams off the bench, big man Jalen Williams, Kenrich Williams. I mean, bro, we may have a chance to get in the dynasty, man. The only player I don't really fool with is J Dub, and everybody knows that. I think Caruso's our second best player personally, and then I'll probably go with Chet Holmgren. But man, it was just a two to force, man. Coach Dagnall, he almost outsmarted himself by taking Hartenstein out the starting lineup and just making silly decisions, man. But I will say this: I'm glad we won, and hey, thought of a chance, and I don't want to hear I don't want to hear anything else out of anybody else who tries to be haters. But I would say it would have been intriguing to see what would have happened if Halliburton did get hurt, because he was killing in that game before he tore his Achilles. He was like 3 for 5 from the three. He just started out hot, so no telling what could happen. So that's the only thing I'll say. I've said this on the pod before. I'm all about, man. I want to see the best versus the best, right? I want to see when you're at your best and we're at our best, we match them up and who wins. I'm still rocking with the Thunder, but it would have been nice to see, because it gives other people on the outside, right? Not that that matters, but it gives them kind of a little leeway to kind of say, well, what would have happened if Halliburton wasn't hurt? You know what I'm saying? So, I've already heard a little bit of that, and even though I disagree with it, you understand it because it's like, hey, their best player ended up getting hurt, and so that was advantage to the Thunder, which is obvious. But man, I say, man, SGA, man, what can you say, man? He led the team. He did what he's supposed to do. He's the MVP, heart and soul. I'll never be a big J Dub fan. I personally think we should have traded him, go get KD back, but that's just me. Um, I think Chet Holmgren, once he gets some muscle on him and gets in the weight room and gets a little tougher, I think he's going to be the next. He has a chance. He has KD like skills. I think Hardenstein will only be here for another couple of years, and the big man we drafted will take his spot um, for a cheaper option. But what I will say is I respect the fact that Clay Bennett is not going to let a repeat of the Harden, KD, Westbrook Thunder happen again. He locked up SGA, he locked up JW, he locked up Chet Holmgren, gave them all 3 contract extensions. So our core is intact, right? And man, and next year's gonna be wide open, especially in the Eastern Conference with all the injuries that happened. And the West, man, I will say Houston and Denver both got a lot better, so that scares me. But another year, off season, SGA can get better. I think Chet Holmgren is gonna make a huge leap next season. Yeah, J Dub is J Dub. Caruso was a huge part of the team, man. He just energizes a bunny. He does everything you need him to do, hustles his ass off, always in the right spot. Um, Dagnall with another year's experience, man. Like I said, but with KD and the Rockets, man, that's going to be interesting. And in Denver, getting Cam Johnson, getting rid of Michael Porter, getting Tim Hardaway, and getting Big Valanciunas to back up Jokic was huge for them. So, and then, like I said, the Rockets. But those 3 teams, man, I think whoever comes out the West is going to win the championship, unless somehow Boston Tatum comes back, or we'll see what happens with Dame Lillard, who he signs with. Um, Dallas is intriguing with Cooper Flag, and once Kyrie comes back with AD and some of the pieces that they have. So the West is going to be fun, man. The West will be fun. I don't think it'll be as easy for the Thunder as it was this season, but um, this is foreshadowing. If we're doing early preseason picks, I'm going Thunder Nuggets Western Conference Finals. Uh, I'm gonna go. Man, you have to come back to me because right now I'm torn. You have to come back to me. I would say Thunder in 7, but it makes me nervous. Uh,
Oh,
and
we
then in
were.
the East, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say we weren't trying to do like predictions or anything,
I
but
know,
so
I know,
you don't
I
have
know.
to.
Yeah, I know, I'm just jumping the gun. Just excited, man. It's just what it does for the city. You know, the new arena coming. Um, Thunder gonna be good for at least the next 5 to 7 years, man. And they're gonna be one of the top 5 to 7 teams in the NBA. It'll be exciting to see how much better SGA gets. You know, kind of gets his three ball a little bit better, and just continue to work on his game, man. And the key will just be, even though I hate on him, if J Dub can continue to improve and be that true number two, or Chet Holmgren can start to develop his offense game, get a little tougher. I mean, they can mess around and win 2 or 3 or 4 in a row. So um, they got the talent, they got the youth, they got the coaching, they got the city behind them, they got the small market, which we said couldn't win. Uh, but they got everything, man, and they locked up their core. They're spending. They got the depth, the bench. They draft well. Presti is a maniac when it comes to talent evaluation. He's the best in the business. Um, and the thing that's I'm impressed with, I feel like whatever the Thunder are lacking, they will go out and make moves. I didn't always feel that way. They will go out and make moves and spend money, just like they did with Caruso. They gave him a new contract, gave Hardenstein the money. Um, I'm just impressed, man. And I think the sky's the limit, man. With those three in your core, man, and Caruso rounding them out, and Case and Wallace and Joe and Wiggins, they're all just going to get better, man. And I don't know, man. I think it's going to be scary for the league. The worst thing that happened was the Thunder winning the title. And what I mean by worst, obviously, OKC, we rocking with OKC, but for the NBA, because they're young, and all it's going to do is make them even more confident, more belief in themselves. And I just think it's even harder to take them guys out, man. I think it's going to take an injury to take the Thunder out, to be real, man. I think it's going to take an injury for them to get knocked out. So I don't know, man. I just thought it was beautiful to see. It's beautiful basketball, man. It's some of the best defense I've seen in my time watching the game of basketball, especially at the professional level. The way they just guard, whether it's the pick and roll, the post, switching on screens, going over, helping. I mean, they just do everything well, man. Boxing, trapping, extending out. They just do everything well, man. They got great hands. They play for each other, man. There's none of that infighting. They all get along. And just, I don't know, man. It's just great basketball to see, man. It's what basketball is meant to be played like, man. They play the game like, if I had a son, I would want to teach him to play like the Thunder play, man. And I just appreciate the hard work, appreciate the grit and the grind. I appreciate getting it out the mud, man. I appreciate, doing it for the Thunder, man. OKC Thunder champs, 2024-25 season. High likelihood they'll repeat. What can I say, man? Thunder up, man. I'm just impressed, man. And I really think it was a special showing, and I was just glad to be a part of it, glad to be able to watch and attend a couple. And I think sky's the limit, man. What you got, bro?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, you covered a lot of it there. I think when we were talking about our predictions, me and you both were like, maybe we'll sweep them, maybe go 5 games. So seeing this thing go the whole distance, I mean, I was unexpected, very entertaining, a little nerve wracking too at times, right? Kind of worried that Thunder might end up losing this thing. Seeing how they some of the games went, and kind of curious if it was going to go that way. And then it gets to Game 7. Yeah, the injury is a factor. I mean, it is, but you don't have someone to replace your player. So that's on them. If you're relying on one person to win a game for you, I think that's you're not really set up to win the big stage. So yeah, them winning was really cool. Didn't get to experience the parade in Oklahoma. I was flying back. I actually watched the finals in New Orleans. Really cool experience. Obviously, around a bunch of people who are fans for whatever teams, wherever they're at. Great vibes, fun to watch it. Um, Probably, I think like you're predicting that they could go back again next year. I'm hearing a lot of the same buzz that there's good potential that the Thunder could definitely go back into the finals again next year. Obviously, a lot of things can happen over an off season. additions, injuries, things like that. So it'd be very cool to see that and see what we do. Obviously, the Thunder fans love showing out for their team. So I just can't imagine what Game 1 is going to be like next year. Kind of welcoming the champs back to their arena, back to their stadium. I think it'll be electric. It's really cool to see and watch. So yeah, no, it was surprising. Again, I think going into it with our predictions, saying it was going to be a sweep them out or be 5 game type thing, and going to a full 7 game series, it was fun to watch. It was electric and it's nerve wracking at times, but Thunder came away with the dub, brought it back to Oklahoma City, and I think the sky's the limit. Let's see what we can do so we can get some more here and. Uh, let's just get the ball rolling. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like in the next coming years. How about you, Clay?
Yeah, man, Thunder up. We got the NBA Finals champion, Oklahoma
One for the city, baby.
Yeah. When it comes to the small market, right, it's really hard to win a championship. It really is. I mean, if you look,
I know.
If you look at the history of the NBA Finals and the champions, look at the small market teams, that have won. It's really hard. And there's just from people I was around and stuff. There's just so much hate towards the Thunder. They mostly Laker fans. Big market fans. And I'm just like, why? Like, people complain about SGA getting fouls. Well, statistically, he wasn't the biggest foul getter. Kobe was. Yeah, exactly. You play the game and you play it by the rules, and it's the refs. Refs call it, I saw all kinds of people complaining. All players complain, or not all, but I saw much worse players complaining in the finals about not getting calls, foul calls, There's tons of players in history that have complained way worse than SGA. You don't see him complaining that much.
He doesn't even complain.
He may make it seem that he's getting fouled, or he may, show a movement that may look like he gets fouled, and the ref may call it or not. But throughout the playoffs and the finals, he wasn't like getting, all these calls like that. The amount of hate that he was getting, like, it just wasn't there from what I saw. He made the most opportunity to get fouled because he would drive to the basket. He'd do all kinds of things. He's like he's one of the best in the league. He is the best player.
Okay, he's MVP. Yeah, no doubt.
To all the people that say Jokic is a defensive liability, I'm sorry. SGA's not. He showed it in the finals that he can get steals, he can poke the ball out. So sorry, but Jokic is a defensive liability. That's why he lost. But yeah, J-Dub, I gotta speak on J-Dub. J-Dub, he is the number 2 guy, and I say this. The only issue is he's inconsistent. But look at Game 3. Look at Game 4. Look at Game 5. Those are the games that, were a big deal, and he goes and scores, 40 in Game 5. Those were the 4 and 5 are turning points of the series. Thunder are down 2-1, and he's showing up during that time. And he was injured. All that injury noise, information was coming out afterwards, but he was injured, and he was showing up as their second best player. He would show up. And I mean, Chet, he's the third best. He's more on the defensive side. He fulfills those roles. But as far as scorer, he presents a third option. That a championship team needs. He's that third guy, and that's always the best recipe for them. Is in that order. SGA, J Dub, and then Chet. Chet can start off hot. He had a couple of hot times, at the first quarter. There's a couple of games where he'd start off hot. He does definitely provide defense and rebounds, stuff like that. And that's more his role, not necessarily that second guy. Like, they need J-Dub to be the second guy more consistently. And, I mean, honestly, throughout the finals, I don't even think the Thunder played they had, I would say they didn't play great. They played good, but they didn't play great. Like, there's stretches where they played way better, and sure, you could say, yeah, it's some jitters, but I think it was more them. And from here, I think they can only get better because they have experience, and the playoff experience, finals experience, all the kinds of experiences that, all the greats have gone through, because like Steph, LeBron, they just get better and better in these finals and win more championships. I'm sure Michael Jordan was the same way. I didn't watch so much as that during that time, but these players, Kobe, Shaq, same with them too. They've gotten better, once they got over the hump. You get over the hump, then you're more comfortable. The difference between the past championships and them is they're young. They still have, and their contracts are not up. They just maxed out. They extended their contracts. Even the role players are here. Like Wiggins did not have a good playoffs. He had like one good game, but I was just waiting for him to
Neither did Isaiah Joe. Neither one of them.
Yeah, Joe didn't either. Like Kaysen stepped up. He stepped up more than I thought he.
He played pretty well.
Like him, Caruso, and Kaysen, they kept us in games with their defense, and created fast break, from steals and stuff like that. They kept us in the games a lot of time with their defense, and so. But Wiggins, man, I was disappointed by him. Joe might be a player that we might let go. Like if he can't play defense, I think he's a defensive liability. He's smaller, and if we could replace him with something, that's more balanced, because he is a 3-point shooter. I get it, but he didn't really show up in the playoffs 3-point shooting. He kind of like choked a little bit. And that's what happened last year in the playoffs too. The season before that, when they were counting on him, he started a couple of games instead of Giddey, and he couldn't get his 3-point shots. He couldn't make his 3-point shots. So that was 2 years in a row that he kind of choked in the playoffs. So, I mean, I would consider maybe moving him or something, because, he's a good regular season, but I don't know about moving forward, and especially if it makes more money, I've been watching AJ Mitchell in the summer league. He's been going off. I've been watching Topic in the summer league.
Topic's been balling.
He's pretty good backup point guard, so maybe I worry about his defensive liability though. Same with Mitchell. I worry both of them about their defense. If they're going to get playoff minutes.
But the Thunder are so good defensively that they can have a couple average defenders and it won't really hurt them. But everybody else is excellent, like way above average on defense.
Yeah, but you look at, I would say, all the starters. None of them are defense liabilities.
No, none of them.
Like Jay Will, he kind of didn't get to play much because he's kind of a defensive liability.
He played well against Jokic, though.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he definitely slowed him down, tried to slow him down, But I still think he was, like, he's just all right. I mean, Caruso, I think he played a really good job on Jokic,
Caruso may be our best defender, period.
Yeah.
Or him and Dort, someone else.
Because I don't think traditionally, like Hartenstein, I don't think Hartenstein can do well against Jokic, in my opinion.
No,
So
that's a bad matchup. Jokic's a bad matchup for everybody, really.
it's more guards. You get guards on him, get a fast help defense, so that they can recover and close out on 3-pointers when he passes it out, that type of stuff. That's what I think the best defense on Jokic. Um, but yeah, them winning in 7, I'm not like super surprised. Because I, I think they could have done better and closed it out in 5 or 6. Like play wise. Um, but that just means there's room for improvement next year. And I think with Dallas to Denver, um,
The Rockets.
Rockets. My thing with the Rockets and KD, he just hasn't had success when he's not around other champions. I mean, he's not a leader. He's a
No, that's not his forte for sure.
I see him as a mercenary. Like he can go in, get a bunch of points, play some team defense, but he's not the leader. You know, he's not like, I just think he kind of does himself, he's gifted and he's able to score, but I just don't think he's a team leader to lead a team, so, who's Houston leaning on? Fred VanVleet, I think, and um,
Amen Thompson,
Amen.
Sangoon,
Both of them are talented, but I mean, as far as like leaders,
It'll be Van Fleet and Ime Udoka. But KD's never been a leader though. They need him to get buckets. That's what they need him for.
yeah. But yeah, I think with the Thunder next year, I think they just need to remain healthy and luck. Like when Halliburton went down, well, other finals, there's been players ejected.
For sure.
When Green got ejected and didn't get to play, and the Cavs came back and won. So, you always have to have a little bit of luck when it comes to being a champion. That goes in all sports, I think. And so I don't see there being any issues with the way the Thunder won.
Not at all. They're legitimate champs.
They should have won game 1. So, like,
I agree. They were dominating the game. So, I agree.
So, yeah. Another thing one of my points I want to make about small markets is if you look at Thunder's free agent signing history, free agents, Nerlens Noel, Derek Fisher, Patrick Patterson, Mike Muscala, Caron Butler.
Yeah.
I mean, up until this year with Hartenstein, and even him, he was a backup center.
No, he started with the Knicks.
That was someone got hurt, didn't they?
No, he was always starting over Mitchell Robinson. Hardenstein. No, we're not. Let me say this: Mitchell Robinson was going to be the starter, but he got hurt, and Hardenstein was playing well, and he never got his job back. Let me say that.
Well, I don't know, but then there was wasn't there? I feel like he was still a backup center. Like he wasn't proven in any way. And the Thunder the only reason they really got him probably because they had to pay him so much. They paid him so much money because they could.
It was a great pickup, though.
Right, and that's what Thunder needed. He played a great role in their championship team. Without him, I don't think they would have won it, in my opinion.
I agree.
He played a role that they needed. But I'm just saying, like, the first year they get a decent free agent like that, that's not like on the tail end of their career or it just you see it, and then they win a championship. You know what I mean? Like, that's the disadvantage of being in the small market. You know, you look at all these other large market teams that get free agents all the time, and
But the big time free agents, bro, the Thunder never really needed them, and they wouldn't have been a good fit with the Thunder.
Yeah, but I still think when the Thunder were good with Westbrook
Westbrook,
and
KD,
KD, they missed out on who's Celtics center.
Horford. But that's only because KD left, though. Al Horford would have signed if KD would have re-signed.
But I think there was multiple times they missed out on him or something. Like
Maybe.
and so he would have been a great fit.
I
And
agree.
it's just like it's just they don't want to come to Oklahoma City. So it's a disadvantage, and that's why it's, you know, you gotta preach small market, because that's how it works. You know, nobody wants to go to Oklahoma City. It's in other sports too. It's in NFL. There's certain teams. Nobody wants to go to the Panthers. Nobody's gonna, you know, like nobody's gonna go to Charlotte. Nobody's, you know,
The money's right. They'll make it work.
I don't think so. You see it in every sports. That's why it's somewhat rigged. Sports are somewhat rigged because of free agents. They don't want to go. It's worse than NBA, because NBA players like, you know, bigger markets compared to NFL players. NFL players, some of them could be country people, and they just want to, you know, hang out, be in the country, you know. Whereas NBA, a lot of them come from the cities. You know, they're not from the deep south. You know, they're from LA, they're from New York, they're from Chicago. You know, they're from these bigger markets, so they want to be in a big city. You know, even so, baseball too. Baseball's probably a bunch of, you know, small market, small town people more often than big time. So it's kind of rigged in the NBA a little bit. I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's all I want to make my point. But yeah, Thunder up, NBA champions.
Hey man, we'll speak on that. We'll speak on that rig stuff another day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of it, Clay Bennett not being willing to pay the luxury tax. There's a lot of things that go into that, bro. So,
well, that one,
and what makes it even more impressive is the Thunder don't chase the big fish. They always grow their own stars. Who would have thought SGA was going to be this good when they made the Paul George trade? Nobody knew SGA was going to be this good. Whoever their player development guy is the best in the NBA, and it's not even close. Because they always do that. They take somebody who thought, don't get me wrong, Westbrook was a high draft pick, but Westbrook's going to the Hall of Fame. Who said Westbrook was going to be a Hall of Famer? You know what I'm saying? Nobody thought that. So
that's what a small market team has to do, though. They have to draft good.
I agree.
And they have to make trades.
But they're the best at it. They've had their own bad luck, too, with injuries and stuff, too, the Thunder have in some of those playoff series. So, and if KD would have came back that next season, Thunder could have won the title that year because they had a really good team. So, I'm talking about if he would have re-signed before he went to Golden State is what I'm talking about.
I still defend that whole Harden situation because Miami, they were basing it off how Miami was structured. Miami was the top dog then, with power forward, you know, shooting guard. Yeah, so, you know, it would have been more modern, today's modern league, if they had Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. You know what I mean? Like today that would be an easy thing to do, which they did with the core this year. You know, they re-signed them all. But back then, you had to have the ideas to have a big. And they were trying to make Ibaka a stretch five, and that just didn't work out. He couldn't make threes. But if he could have, that would have been a successful, you know, but they didn't. He couldn't do it. He couldn't be as good like Bosh.
And the Thunder still had a chance, man. The year that the Cavs came back from 3-1, like I said, they had Golden State up 3-1. You know, I mean, if it was a fifth, you know, we'd all be drunk. But Thunder had their opportunities. So, hey, they won it now. You know, I feel like they got a chance to win 3 or 4 more with this core. So, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Man, fellas, another good conversation, man. You know how it goes, man, with my boys chopping it up about sports. You know, like I tell you, every pod, man, we know I'm always right, and that's okay. That's what makes them special because deep down, y'all know I'm always right, man. Love having these conversations with y'all. It's all love. Please, 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 please subscribe, hit that like button, leave us a comment, tell your friends, your family, your mama, your daddy, your ex, your current. If you got multiple, who cares? Let them know. We need some love. We need all the views we can get. Let them know. I'm Leo. That's LJ. That's Clayton. This is LKJ Sports. Again, give us some likes, show us some love, spread the word. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Thunder up.
Let's go.